This is Theodore McClendon, Theo the Thinker from Art Science Music Research. I want to talk briefly on the Kanye West documentary, Genius. I thoroughly enjoyed that documentary. It was touching, it was moving, it was revealing, and it was instructive. The one thing that I've concluded is that Kanye West is indeed a genius. His story is an interesting one, but the thing that stands out to me was his good fortune or his blessing to have a mother like Donda West. This woman had the insight and the foresight to cultivate the curiosity of the boy, Kanye West, when he was a little boy. And she nurtured that all the way into her demise, her untimely demise. But before she passed, you could see in this documentary that she indeed was in his corner no matter what, offering an undying, unconditional love to the man that had become Kanye West. The body language was telling. It was palpable. You could see that she was a cheerleader for his cause, even though maybe she didn't totally understand what his purpose was, but she co-signed because he gave a convincing argument for his gift. And his gift is and was a considerable one. Kanye West, what is his gift? Kanye West has the uncanny knack for being able to select appealing rhythms, sounds, and songs. This is not common. Perhaps it would be common had it not been dissuaded from most, let's say, music students. If a teacher was to allow a music student to explore their inner musician, not the technical musician, not technique, not notation, not theory per se, but instead a deeper feeling for the sound of music. This is what Kanye has never lost. It's what many musicians lose in the first few years of taking music lessons. He never lost this. This is his gift, folks. If I'm not explaining it to the fullest, it's purely because this is something that's not discussed much in musical circles or educational circles. The type of gift that Kanye has. It is something that is straight from the ether, we could say. Some would say it's straight from God, the universe. Others would say it's a natural inkling that all humans have, yet never develop. At any rate, it is something that has distinguished him in the music world. His brashness and his audacity, indeed his hubris, is off-putting to be sure, especially for those who are older than him or think they know more, or in the case of the hip hop crowd that he was trying to persuade in New York, they figured they were the progenitors of the form, that they owned hip hop, that they owned rap. And Kanye thought quite to the contrary. And indeed, as history has shown, he's probably right. In the documentary, the first 2 episodes to be sure, it demonstrated him making his break into the hip hop world. He had already made a name for himself making beats, for other rappers, other artists. He had become adept at choosing the sounds, the palatable sounds, the rhythmic sounds, the funky sounds, the exploratory sounds that these rappers needed. But automatically they tried to pigeonhole him as just a beat maker, okay? But he's far more. And this is demonstrated in this piece. The thoughts are running through my mind immensely right now and in rapid succession. So I'm trying to boil this down the best way I can. Kanye West is a musical genius, but he's also a creative genius in general. He's launched out into fashion. He's launched into technology, as shown by that new device that he created, a stem player that differentiates different parts within a musical composition, separating the bass, the drums, the rhythm instruments, the chordal instruments, etc. He has a little device, and I think mine is in another part of the studio here, so I'm not gonna go fetch that while I'm giving this talk, but you've probably seen it online. It's a cubicle type device that allows you to separate the various parts of a song. It's called a stem player. I have learned that he, in his mind's eye and in his mind's ear, separates songs basically into 4 parts. And that stem player only has 4 parts that separate, much like the old Porta Studios, the cassette Porta Studios used to do back in the 80s. You just play 4 separate multi-track, individual, discrete musical pieces, passages, and then you blend them together in a mix. His stem player that he invented, along with an engineer, is starting to make a lot of noise in technology circles as we speak. He's an uncanny thinker. Kanye is what happens when you are allowed to speak from the heart all the time. All the time. He speaks from the heart all the time. Most people learn to play a duality type game, a game where, you know, there's a public self and there's a private self and there's a family self and there's a business self and there's a school self, all these multiplicity of personalities. Kanye is singular. You could say bipolar, okay? But most people are more than bipolar, they're octipolar, because they're different people at different times. But this guy has this singular outlook. It's an undeniable stream of consciousness. Okay, I'm back. I had to take care of some business there. Man, I was kind of on a roll here. But that documentary, Genius, with Kanye West, he was allowed to explore his creative genius unfeathered by the restrictions and boundaries of society and of the education process. If you must know. See, I'm of the school of thought that every human being is a genius. And guess who else said every human being is a genius? I'll wait. None other than Albert Einstein said every human being is a genius. However, they're measured by the wrong measuring sticks. They don't use the 7 intelligences to measure intelligence. They use a culturally biased test that eliminates a whole swath of the culture and judges their intelligence on knowing how to get along in a given culture. Einstein says, they're measured under a rubric such, he gave an analogy. It's like telling a fish to climb a tree. A fish is not designed to climb a tree. So if the fish cannot climb the tree, you ding him, you demerit him, you demerit it for not being able to climb a tree, because that's the measurement of intelligence that you use. Similarly, in human beings, it's the same thing. Kanye is totally off of that chart. He doesn't even acknowledge that chart, nor does he have to, and nor do we have to. Back to Einstein. What he meant was Homo sapiens as a species, not as a race, not blacks, whites, Asians. Homo sapiens, the species that is mankind, that is humanoid, that is human, has an unlimited capacity of brain power, given the right circumstances and the right nurturing. Kanye, through his mother, was able to explore that. We've all felt the way he's felt. You might be in a classroom where nobody's getting it, right? You might be in a work environment where nobody's getting it, and you're the one who does get it, but you got to wait for the ones who are trying to get it. It's very frustrating. And the education system does not have a system in motion that can nurture even the slower human beings. Because if you nurture right, you can bring a human being to his or her full mental potential. Kanye West, as shown in this documentary, and as I have come to know him in a third-party sense, is doing what he does because he hasn't been truncated or abbreviated or eliminated, or there have been no intellectual boundaries to his boundless creativity and intelligence.